This next lesson has to do with clock hands and the movement of a clock, and it's really not that much more difficult than any other of our distance, rate, and time problems, but it takes some understanding about how clocks work. So first of all, we know that we have 12-hour marks on a clock, and in between each hour mark there are 5-minute marks. So if we look at all the minute tick marks, there's a total of 60 tick marks around a clock. So we're going to talk about the rates that the hands move. So first of all, the minute hand moves 1 tick mark. We're talking about the minute tick marks. 1 tick mark every minute. The hour hand moves 5 tick marks every 60 minutes. We needed to make sure our units, the ticks per minute, is a constant. So it's the same type of units. Now we know then that the rates would be that the rates for the minute hand is 1 tick per minute, and the hour hand is 1/12 tick per minute. So there's our rates. So now let's talk about a problem that we would have. At what time after 10:30 will the hour and minute hands be perpendicular to one another? So again, we have to take some understanding about what's going on. For the hands to be perpendicular, they would need to be 15 tick marks apart. That's what would make them perpendicular. And at 10:30, the minute hand is at the 30-minute mark, while the hour hand is at the 52.5-minute mark, meaning that hour hand is halfway between the number 10 and the number 11 on the clock. So, to find the distance that any particular hand moves, we take the initial minute mark. In the case of the minute hand, that's the 30, and in the hour hand, that's 52.5, and we add that to the rate times time, and that's going to equal the number of tick marks that hand will have moved since the initial position. So at some time t, the distance between the hands, d2 minus d1, needs to be 15 tick marks. So let's look at the equations for each of the hands. For the minute hand, the distance, d sub 1, is going to be 30, the initial, plus the rate, 1, times t, which equals d sub 1. For the hour hand, our d sub 2, we're going to have the 52.5 plus its rate, 1/12, times t, equals d sub 2. We want to subtract d sub 2 minus d sub 1, because that's going to be our 15. And when we do that, we get 22.5 minus 11/12 t equals 15. Now we're going to subtract the 22.5 from both sides, and we'll end up with negative 11/12 t equals negative 7.5. We need to eliminate that fraction, so we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, negative 12/11. And when we do so, we get that t equals 90/11. That improper fraction is not that useful in real life, so let's change it to a mixed number, and we get 8 2/11. So that's how far the tick mark has to move past the 10:30 mark, which means at 10:38 2/11, the hands of the clock will be perpendicular to each other.